Hi, my name is Shanna, and this is my second testimonial following up on the P-Memory 60-Day Challenge. Now, if you watched my first testimonial, you already know that I am a certified massage practitioner and a senior English major at UCLA. So, before I get into all of the P-Memory stuff that you want to know, like the fact that I can now memorize anything and whole books, is that why I joined the School of Phenomenal Memory in the first place. If you're like me, you're one of those people who acquires information pretty quickly. It's fairly easy, but it might not stay all there completely, just naturally without it, and that's how I was before the program. I could pick up information and didn't have to study much, and it would stay in there for the test, and then I'd lose it. And that got to be very counterproductive when I ended up taking a physics class. Not only did I not need it, but it was also the harder level, and it was that point that I realized, I can't use this anymore. I need to actually learn how to study. I had to end up dropping the class, and that was a huge embarrassment. So after a year of thinking if P-Memory is skeptical or scammy or not, and being extremely skeptical, I decided to take the plunge to prevent anything like that happening again. So after that, now, I know that that will never happen again because I can memorize my entire textbooks if I need to. Being in the English major, I will tell you, I don't need to do verbatim memorization most of the time. Usually, as I'm just going off of what I've seen in my courses because I haven't had that much time to implement this new stuff yet. So I will do mostly date memorization when that comes up, although it's not that frequent, or anecdotes and basic concepts. Now, that isn't to say that I couldn't rev that up and memorize that physics textbook now, because I absolutely can. Which is awesome to say now that I'm like saying that out loud and realizing that, because it's so cool. And the thing is, it's not that hard. Yes, it's hard if you're doing it now and you don't understand the techniques on how to do it, but you go through the course and you learn how to do it, and each lesson is tailored to what kind of information you're trying to learn, and you have to go through all of it, and then you realize you can memorize anything. So for me, it took me so long to commit to the course, and the first time through I had issues with it, with myself, because I had large procrastination issues that were based on emotions and like my brain telling me I can't do it or I'm not good enough and I won't ever get through it, and like I'm that person who just can't even though other people can. That kind of thing. So that stopped me a lot. So going through this course a second time helped me break down a lot of those boundaries that were holding me back. And now, as my first book, I memorized Emotional Freedom by Judith Orloff, and this book has been really useful to me, going through and making basic memorization first off, and then adding more detail later. But the basic memorization has really helped me to add on to what I need to know to deal with my own emotions, and especially in respect to doing something like P-Memory, where it gets in the way a lot if I'm not focused, if I'm not clear, if I'm not attuned, and just that kind of thing. So one of the things that I really liked about this book was it discussed what is your emotional type, and that was very helpful for me in basically coming to terms with how I work and how I can help myself versus continually dig myself into holes. And there are 4 emotional types. This is just I'm trying to give you an example on how I can memorize this, and I realize that over the internet, skepticism is full-blown, so I'm really trying my best to show you how this works. But it would work better in person, of course. So just a quick example, there's 4 different types of emotional types. There's the intellect, there's the empath, there's the rock, and then there's the gusher. And she goes through and says different ways to recognize if you are like this or how you can deal with these people like this. And also, what kind of not as related to P-Memory use or study is that it also goes into what Dr. Orloff calls emotional vampires. I know if you haven't heard the term before, it might be kind of strange to you, but it's basically talking about people who emotionally suck you dry, and there's 5 different types of those as well. And you go through and you learn how to cope with these people, and they go through different steps. And I don't want to tell you all of that because I think that you should go through and read the book yourself, and I don't want to get in trouble for reciting the book in front of camera. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now and say it is absolutely excellent. A lot of you might be wondering too, how long does it take to memorize a book? I'm going to say, number one, I just finished the challenge, so it's like getting your black belt. I have all of my basic skills down, and now I just have to keep improving it to get better, and it'll get faster the more I use it. But basically, the book memorization, first you have to read the book, obviously, so you know the content at a first glance, and in that way you learn how to just pick up more simply that way. I'm much more attentive now, and I can hold more information without using the full GMS process to actually use that information, you know? So once you read the book, the actual memorization process does not take that long. It's just a matter of putting it into your brain, basically. And I can't tell you how you specifically do that. You're just gonna have to take the course and find out if you really want to. So I know that obviously a lot of you haven't had the chance to accurately memorize a full book before, and if you did, I assume it was extremely challenging if you didn't use the GMS system. I personally haven't used any other memorization system, so I can't really speak for that, but I would definitely believe that this is the best thing out there, because I can't think that there's something better than memorizing whole books and all that. Anyways, so when I memorize anything now, especially books, let's just say books for now. Once you have that information, you can access it without having to go through and like go, oh, page 1, and go through and try and find it in there. As soon as someone like asks you a question about it, you can just recall that information and have a conversation about it because it's in the recall that you actually know the information. So some of you might be worried that if you're learning it, can you actually talk about the information? Like, memorization isn't everything. But the way that this works, you are learning the material as you're memorizing it, and your comprehension absolutely skyrockets. And furthermore, you can add any kind of resolution, as I would personally call it, to how you're memorizing it. So picture like you have an 8-bit pixel, so you have the basic concepts and you can memorize that for as long as you choose to. Or you can do page numbers down to what information is on each page, and it's not hard to do. That might seem like a daunting task that none of you might ever in your greatest nightmares would want to try, you know? But these techniques work and they're simple, and once you learn them and become comfortable with them, they just become part of habit. And I know personally that I do have much more work to do, but I know that it works, and I just need to get better at it now. So in my school life, just continuing on, I don't have to do as much exact memorization, so I'm using P-Memory mostly for my own uses because I like to learn languages, and that's how I plan to use it in the future, along with nifty books like this. That's the other cool thing, just a quick note. When you have information memorized, whether or not you're consciously recalling it and thinking about it, it's in your brain now, and subconsciously it's taking action. And that's something that feels absolutely phenomenal, and I really can't articulate it because it's just a feeling of having the information that you have in you. So especially something like this, I'm starting to feel a lot better and more confident and able to tackle things that look impossible, but they're not, especially this. So I hope I haven't talked too much or bored you out of your skull, but this is my second testimonial. I finished the challenge. I'm excited to keep practicing it, and if you think that you would like to memorize books too, I highly recommend this system. Best luck to you. Bye.